Hey there, fellow hunters. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Vintage Story, episode 65, Fat of the Land. I wonder if the corn can just go on the barrel. Probably not, right? No. I'm not even holding the corn. Nope. Alright. It cannot. So that is very, very close to the mechanical power that we will need to mill a lot of grain if we're doing like high volume milling. The disadvantage of having, so one of the advantages of having the farm here is like we do have doors, and like once this stuff is out of the way, I can center this door here and then maybe move the corn like to this location, pulling the mechanical power down here so that the main door to our base opens up to like a nice looking kitchen. That's a pretty reasonable project, I would say. But let's just get the corn mechanized now. So what we need for that, at the bare minimum, we have... So we'll want maybe to run a pillar down like this so that the axles can run down that way. And then we just need to feed an axle into there. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 axles, and then an angled gear. So I need 4 more lumps of fat, or 5 more lumps of fat, including the angled gear. So we just need to do a bit of hunting for it. Which is not too bad. And it is not going to be light soon, anytime soon. So it's one of those, I could head out at night, but it makes it a little bit more challenging. So instead, what I could do is work on other tasks for it, like having a floor that isn't, grass, or making the clay oven. So let's do a clay oven. So a clay oven is made of fire clay with clay forming. So let's make ourselves a clay oven now. So the first iteration of my kitchen is just going to be a corn and a clay oven. It is not going to include a fruit press or distillery or any of that stuff. I'm going to keep it simple initially. So if I was using blue clay, you would not see the clay oven option here. That's just unique to fire clay. And this clay ovens allow you to bake bread out of grain. So the reason I'm doing a clay oven here is because if we're mechanizing a quarn, the quarns can be used for grinding down bones, but obviously a lot of what you're going to use it for is bread baking. Or pies, or whatever else goes in these things. It's a big thing, as you can probably see. Rather, a lot of fire clay goes into it. I'm going to need another stack, I think. Especially if I misclick voxels here. Let me just get the more fire clay. And yeah, my grain nutrition's not full, so I could benefit from it as soon as we get those axles. Because I don't want to have to mill by hand. It's too labor intensive, especially when you have a windmill to do it for you. Ta-da! We have a clay oven. A floating clay oven. Yeah, I probably won't put it there. I don't really have a good place to put it at the moment, so I'll just plop it. Let's put it up on blocks. But I'll plop it somewhere like there, just beneath the quarn. So that we can move the grain. Realistically, IRL, you would not want an oven near where you're milling because the dust particulates that come off of a quarn are highly flammable and explosive. I don't know if you've ever seen videos of it, but it's pretty wild when if like flour gets set ablaze. It's a thing. But yeah, this is our kitchen. It's very simple. I'll spruce it up in the future. I'm just keeping it simple for now. So we got our clay oven. We got our quarn where I want it. So now it's just a matter of getting the axles. I could cannibalize the helve hammer setup, but I don't want to do that. So before I leave the base, let's check on the farm. Got spelt with P or K. Oh, flax. None of this rye is quite ready, but that's a lot of rye. So we're going to have some nice rye bread, too. At some point. Cabbages are almost ready. Same with the onions. A lot of flax back here is close, but not quite all the way. So this has K. Let's put flax down. Is that the only spot here? Yeah, I guess that's the only spot that I harvested. This needs N or P. Spelt. This needs N, short, spelt. Is there any other spots that I missed? I feel like I missed one. Oh, here's some turnips. So that's K, put flax in. And there. So that N or P will put turnips. Alright. Looks about right. A lot more flax. Boom. We got a sheet worth. In fact, 2 sheets worth. So I have a 3rd sheet here, and then we have almost a 4th sheet. No, that's not true. But we have some progress towards a 4th sheet. I know how disorganized this is. I'm sure it's rocking some of your brains. But yeah, good progress on that. Oh, weak tannins. Okay. Oh. Scraped hides. Come prepared hides. And I'll do like a small hide run for more parchment. And as Fangface said, I'll just keep my oak here, because I'm not going to use oak as a building material, because it's useful as for leather working. Alright, what else am I missing? I think I am all set to go hunt, I suppose, for more animal fat, so that we can get our first batch of bread. So I don't want to kill creature like sheep very close to the base in case it's voted on that I do animal domestication, so that I'm not screwing future me. So I'll go a little bit further away from the base, and I'm going to go to the really nice spot that we had identified in the past with all the sheep, and see if there's sheep for me to get there still. It's unfortunate, actually, in hindsight, that I made porridge, because now I'm actively... that porridge filled my grain nutrition, so I don't actually benefit, really, from eating bread. But I can make it anyway. Make one batch is a proof of concept. Oryxbane, thank you for the gifted subs. Cheers. Oh, hello. Does this have a U paired with it? I'm assuming it does. I'm not gonna... So generally the way, if you wanted to domesticate sheep, the females, the ewes, follow the rams. So you find a ram that has paired ewes with it, and you punch the ram, you have it chase you into its pen, you close the door, and you've trapped it. And the ewes follow the ram around. So when you're trying to animal domesticate, instead of having to do the process twice by getting the ewe first and then the ram, it's way more economical just to go for the ram first and have the ewes follow. Whereas for small things like bunnies, well, you don't really domesticate bunnies, but for chickens, you just, it's easier now with traps to just trap them, or pre-traps to bait them into a pit near your base. Although you wouldn't be, if you're not in the experimental release candidate branch, you wouldn't be able to move them around. So you would still maybe want to, I don't really know how to do that. But here is where we identified our nice hunting grounds. So let's do it. You better give me fat, girl. Give me fat. Bread is great to sell to traders. Cool, didn't know that. I haven't done a lot of trade in this game. In my my test world, I just don't. I haven't bothered. Whoa, you sent me flying. Unfortunately, these guys are low weight. But oh well. Hopefully get some fat off them. I only need like 6 units of it. Here's the one. I can also grind up some of the bone to bone meal, and then fertilize the... Holy ram! This is, what, a ram convention? Bit of a sausage fest up in here, huh? And then fertilize the Terra Preta that I have in the farm with all this bone meal, too. Too bad that I haven't found salt, because this is a lot of red meat that will just turn to rot before I'm probably able to cook it. I'm surprised there aren't ewes bound to these rams. Now that it's slightly let around, I really just don't see any around here. Another really nice area that I identified is... No, this is an old point. Where's that hunting peninsula? Was it here? That was like... Why didn't I mark it down? I think it was there. The place that just had like crazy amount of animals. You guys recall? In either case, let me return home. I should have brought some more food out with me. Given the ambient temperature and the fact that I'm taking damage, my dude's getting hungry. Yeah, that was it? Okay. I'll head that way next. There's also, where was I where there was a bear? Because if that was a fat bear, that could be good animal fat. I'm trying to think back. I think it was north, a bit, if I want to go bear hunting. I think it's officially, yeah, it's not cranberry bush season anymore. I'm sort of curious if I plop this thing down in my my apiary house. Everyone's like, oh yeah, you can get them in the winter if you warm them up. I just haven't seen that to be the case. I need like a... Well, Catherine, I'm not suggesting that you do this, but someone that does like code deep dives into... I guess this is made of C#, but, or C, I forget what language this game's in. But code deep dives to figure out how some things like bushes and fruit trees are coded. Walking home's a lot easier now that everything's frozen over. There's like nothing stopping me. It's free path. Yeah, so we'll flower in 9 days, weather permitting. I'll check back in a bit to see if that like updates. Right now, my nutrition that I'm missing is fruit, and that's going to be a little hard to fulfill. But I have all this porridge, so I'm just going to keep eating it. Harder to fulfill, because I would just need to eat honey. That's the other thing, is I can just, like, eat the raw honey for fruit needs. So the bees aren't just for... They're not just for jams and fruit. I mean, I can just consume honey too, as honey is fruit as far as the game's concerned, which is nice. Don't I also have all the jam? I do. I just don't want to start dipping into it unless I have to. So the reason to do that is if I wanted to go like dungeoneering, going into deep dungeons where it's dangerous, where I'm gonna want high HP to survive, but if I don't need the high HP to survive, like, I don't need to go about consuming it. I don't know if it's been enough time for the sheep to have respawned in that high volume area, but I'll go and check. And then kill everything on the way there. The animal fat. Oop. Yeah, the real purpose of the jams is like, if there's a lot of combat that I have coming, to just max out hit points. Subsisting on just vegetable, grain, and protein is enough HP throughout the winter that, like, you're not going to starve. Like, there's really just not a case, unless I burn down my base and, like, lose everything I have stored, there's just really not a case where I'm going to starve in the winter, because I have so much grain and so much vegetable saved up. The point is, you should start to prepare early for the winter, because if meat doesn't last very long unless you find salt to cure it, so if you don't have, like, in your storage cellar, if you don't have stored grains and vegetables, you're going to have a bad time in the winter. Almost all your time is going to be spent hunting for meat to keep from starving. So it pays to prepare. Because there's surely not going to be any fruit, right? Unless you live way further south. Well, I suppose that's another strategy, is like spawn into a new world and you just beeline towards the south, where it's, you know, there aren't really seasons. And then you don't really have to worry about seasonal issues. But I think one of the beautiful things about this game is seasons. It's at least aesthetically one of the things that truly sets this game apart from Minecraft. Is Minecraft doesn't really have the concept, as far as I know, I haven't played Minecraft in like a decade. The last I played Minecraft, it didn't have the concept of seasons. It had biomes, but not biomes relating to longitude and latitude. This is not how to get there. Well, I might get a little wet. In vanilla, it doesn't? Okay, that's what I thought. Music change. Doing some caving. Hello, locusts. I'm not here to fight you. Locusts are like little mechanical spiders from eons past that can drop nice stuff, but I'm not out here to kill them, so they get to live another day. You look cold. Let me fix that. Now, where's your mate? Did you have one? Also, the year, the time, it's only November 5th. I didn't stray too far from the natural spawn point, which is rather northern, all things considering. Which is why it's so snowy despite it being pretty early in the winter. We're closing in on my identified sweet hunting ground nearby. I hope things have respawned, but if they haven't, I'll just wander about till I find enough fat. Making the most of it, collecting sticks. Sticks are also needed for mechanization and like everything else. Oh, copper spot. God, where am I? There is an appeal of the new map because during the winter, it's sometimes hard to find where you are. So I'm going to leave the copper bits here so future me can find them underground. Oh, my arm broke again. If needed. We should be coming up on the nice spot here, right? Getting close. Yeah, getting quite close. Why no puppy cam? Oh, it's just I pause it, and I forgot to unpause it. And I just, in my panic, close the screen that allows me to unpause it. Okay, puppy cam is on. Why no puppy cam is because nobody reminded me that it was off. Sorry. Look at me blaming you guys for my own failings. Oh, nice. Flint axe and a tin bronze shovel. Swank. I think that's actually the first ruin that I found that was not made of granite. That was claystone, because I'm in a claystone biome at the moment. And I swear I am heading in the right direction, even though I'm just bushwhacking where all the bush go to my face. Coming through! I can definitely see the appeal of, like, torching the woods. Like, coming in with a fire starter and just being like, alright, trees that are in my way, you're on fire now. So if you spot a critter, call out. It may be that I just didn't leave enough time for things to respawn. I see a bunny. And there's a good amount of oaks around too. So if I don't end up with meat, I can end up with some tannin. Wood for tannin. Yeah, I'm really only seeing the bunnies, so I'm going to assume that I just didn't leave time for them to respawn, so what I'll do is chase these bunnies into the water and then kill them as they're swimming. Get back here. You see a Yoda critter, does he count? Well, I'm not going to be skinning him for fat, so no, it doesn't count. Come on. Come on. Just do it already. Jeez. I'm gonna drown here, waiting for the thing to acknowledge that I was skinning. The sound, I was making the sound the whole time, but I don't think it was working. That you could escape. A going SEAL Team 6 on me. I found you. Oh my god. Game. For the love of... You always make it to the end? At the end? Well, you're probably aware, but my schedules are somewhat predetermined in advance. Or it's, if I can help it. Every now and then, you know, real life throws me a curveball and I need to reschedule things. But generally speaking, the same time every week, same days every week. But I'm assuming that you make it to the end because you're working or whatever, and not that you were surprised by the timing. I'll assume that. Well, these bunnies have not been great. So I'm going to wander away from this prime hunting ground because it's empty at the moment. And find game elsewhere. Yeah. Oh, you're in Japan? Well, that explains it. Don't want you having waken up at like 4 in the morning or whatever for this. I'm not saying I'm not worth it. I'm saying that I understand. Someone who's often awake at 4 in the morning for toddler reasons, I often would rather be asleep, so I get it. Fully. I don't see, well, you know, I will node search for non-quartz, but it's probably just quartz. Do animals migrate? They can move around, yes. The way it works is they have a spawn point, like an XYZ spawn point, and then so if you kill them, they will spawn back at their designated spawn point, and then wander from there. So if you see one spawn, like, for instance, if there is a 2-deep pit in your map, and there's a bunny in it, there's a okay chance that that's the bunny's spawn point, and the bunny will never be able to get away from that 2-deep pit, because they're just, every time they die in that pit, they spawn back in that pit as a Sisyphusian torture, or Tantalus, or whatever. So yeah, animals will wander, but they do have somewhat of a preset location. And as a result of that, I am going to assume, I don't have proof of this, but I'm going to assume that as a result of that, because this world gen was pre 1.19 when goats and deer were added, that if I want to start finding goats and deer, I probably have to venture far away from my already existed location. Because my existing location has pre-1.19 animals, you know, the sheep and the chickens, but not so much the goats and the deer. So I see a lot of posted questions of like, where are the goats and deer at? And the answer is, well, my guess would be that all the areas around you are already spoken for. They're already pre-rendered as not being for goats and deer, so you have to search somewhere else. I could be wrong about that. I don't have proof of that. That's just a guess of mine as to why a lot of people can't find the newer animals. That or they're just not searching well enough, but I don't think that's always the case. But yeah, that's the way I think that all animal spawns work. Maybe not fish. I'm not sure how fish work. Probably they use the same code, I'd imagine, though. So that means, like, if you're in a area that has a lot of bears, it will always be an area that has a lot of bears. Like, you can kill them, but they will respawn back in the same location and come back. And there's ways to stop animal spawning, I suppose, by, like, making it dark. Or removing whatever has them spawn. So, for instance, there's other spawning requirements. Like, raccoons, for instance, will spawn only within a certain range of trees. So, if you're in a big forest and you burn all the trees down, you're technically, like, removing the ability for raccoons to spawn around you because they require trees. Or, like, bunnies require tall grass. So if you torch all the tall grass, yeah, bunnies will stop spawning because there's no longer tall grass for them to spawn into. So there's those requirements as well to realize that can be manipulated to stop spawning. If that's something you want to do. I'm going to wander back to the base. I think I have 4 of the, like, 5 or 6 fat that I need. I forget exactly what the count was. So we're pretty close. I only need a few more kills, and then we have what we need. Oh, I see some. I'm coming. Won't eat you. I'll get the fox first. Come on. There you go. Foxes will fight back, but they will run from you initially. Hey, Foxy. I don't care about the bushmeat. Not too far from home. This is also kind of one of the spots that was just hunting for sheep. This is where I killed the original, like, 4 ram. There could be ewes here that I just missed. Because normally they spawn in pairings. It will be like a ram and a ewe or a ram and 2 ewe. I don't often see that it's just like a ram by itself. As that's... Why do you sound like a chicken? Jesus. Really angry, too. It, like, nipped at me 1,000 times. But now you're dead. Understandably angry. I did try to kill it. Or did kill it. Just more ram. Come on, give me fat. The reason I'm not going for bushmeat is, like, I'm getting so much more red meat off the ram that I just don't need, like, a single digit of bushmeat. It's just not, I don't know. I could grab it, it's just not worth much in the scheme of things. It's like a 15th of the amount of meat that I have that all stacks nice and neat. So the terrain out this way sucks. It's all this sort of peaks, jagged cliff edge. It sucks to hunt that way, even if there are animals, because the terrain is nearly untraversable. So if I was to do more hunting, it's not going to be that direction. That way is the worst. It's worse than forest, I'd say, which is saying a lot. Let's try sort of south of the base. I have no reason to believe it's more fruitful that direction. It's just haven't gone that way in a while, so maybe it will have critters. And another useful hunting tip is, like, hunting near water, only because you can use water to flush animals into the water, where then they can't outswim you. It's also a good way to evade predators. Keeping in mind, of course, that, like, it needs to be deep enough water where it can't just be walked through by, like, a bear or a wolf. And then also, don't become hypothermic and die doing it, because that's not useful. Oh, you are a pretty little rooster, aren't you? I like that little tail of yours. Tail feathers. Yeah, bears don't swim well. Exactly. That, and also sometimes, like, animals will fail at pathing and just, like, drown themselves. I've seen that before. Where just in the middle of the lake, there will be, like, a bear that just, like, doesn't know how to come to shore and just drowns and dies. And it's a free kill. And there's no reason not to just, like, go out and skin it. Thank you for tuning in to Vintage Story, which originally streamed live on Twitch January 11th. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. Hope to catch ya next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Seraphs.